Science proves it. Vikings slept magnificently better than us 1,000 years ago. And here are the 7 secrets they used. You might think that sleeping only 6 hours per night would leave you exhausted, but archaeological evidence reveals that Vikings achieved better recovery than modern people sleeping 8 hours. Recent excavations have uncovered Viking sleeping bags designed for 2 people, representing ancient survival technology that modern science is only beginning to understand. Vikings slept in temperatures of -20 degrees Celsius without getting sick, mastering thermoregulation techniques that our ancestors developed over millennia. While the modern world struggles with a global sleep deficit epidemic, ancient Vikings possessed a perfectly designed sleep ecosystem that evolved naturally over thousands of years. This isn't romantic nostalgia about the past. This is hard science backed by archaeological evidence, circadian rhythm research, and cutting-edge sleep studies that reveal uncomfortable truths about how industrialization destroyed our natural sleep patterns. The conventional wisdom tells us that ancient times meant primitive sleeping conditions, poor health, and short lifespans. The reality shocks us. Viking sleep quality surpassed modern standards in virtually every measurable category. They fell asleep faster, slept deeper, woke up more refreshed, and maintained consistent energy throughout their demanding days. The paradox stares us in the face: advanced technology versus deteriorating sleep quality. Our research methodology combines archaeological evidence from major Viking sites, including Oseberg and Gokstad, cross-referenced with astronomical data about Nordic light cycles, linguistic analysis of Old Norse sleep terminology, and comparative studies with modern Scandinavian sleep patterns. We examined burial goods, housing structures, dietary remains, and most importantly, the written sagas that preserve detailed accounts of daily Viking life. What emerges is a comprehensive picture of sleep optimization that puts our modern sleep hygiene to shame. Vikings didn't just sleep well by accident. They developed sophisticated systems for light management, temperature control, nutrition, timing, stress reduction, and social support that created ideal conditions for restorative sleep. Every aspect of their society, from architecture to social customs, supported quality rest in ways we've forgotten. Iceland still leaves children sleeping outdoors in temperatures of -10 degrees Celsius because they believe this strengthens immune systems and improves sleep quality. This seemingly extreme practice reveals deep wisdom about how geographic location shapes sleep patterns. The Scandinavian peninsula occupies a unique position on Earth, where extreme seasonal light variations create optimal conditions for human circadian rhythm development. Vikings lived between 60 and 70 degrees north latitude, experiencing dramatic seasonal light cycles that would challenge modern sleep patterns, but actually enhanced ancient circadian adaptation. During summer months, these northern regions receive nearly 24 hours of daylight, creating the phenomenon known as the midnight sun. Conversely, winter brings extended periods of darkness, with some areas experiencing only a few hours of dim daylight. Modern circadian rhythm research from the University of Tromsø demonstrates that people living at high latitudes develop more flexible and robust internal clocks. When Thomas Wehr conducted controlled studies depriving subjects of artificial light, their sleep patterns naturally evolved toward the segmented patterns that archaeological evidence suggests Vikings practiced. The human circadian system, when freed from artificial constraints, adapts remarkably well to extreme photoperiods. Consider Bjorn Ironside, the legendary Viking explorer, whose sagas describe his ability to maintain energy and alertness during both the bright summer raids and dark winter planning periods. Historical accounts suggests that Viking leaders like Bjorn adapted their military and social activities to complement these natural light cycles rather than fighting against them. During summer's midnight sun, Vikings conducted their famous raids and exploration voyages, taking advantage of extended daylight for navigation and sustained activity. Winter's long darkness became a time for indoor crafts, storytelling, and restorative rest. Archaeological evidence from Longhouse excavations reveals strategic window placement and interior design that maximized natural light exposure during brief winter days while providing protection from summer's intense brightness. Vikings developed sophisticated understanding of how light timing affects sleep quality centuries before modern chronobiology identified the mechanisms. The contrast with modern life is stark. Urban environments create light pollution that disrupts natural circadian rhythms year-round. Artificial lighting extends our days far beyond natural photoperiods, suppressing melatonin production and delaying sleep onset. Office workers in temperate climates often experience less natural light variation than Vikings living above the Arctic Circle, leading to weaker circadian signals and poorer sleep quality. Studies of modern Scandinavian populations show retained advantages in circadian flexibility compared to people from lower latitudes. Norwegian researchers found that people living in northern regions adapt more quickly to shift work and recover faster from jet lag, suggesting genetic adaptations developed over generations of extreme light exposure. The Viking advantage wasn't just environmental luck. They actively worked with their geographic conditions rather than against them. Modern sleep medicine increasingly recognizes that fighting natural light cycles with artificial lighting and rigid schedules creates the sleep disorders plaguing industrial societies. Vikings achieved what sleep researchers now call circadian entrainment naturally through geographic adaptation. Viking beds measured only 2.2 meters long and 1.1 meters wide, forcing them to sleep in a seated position like emperors rather than lying flat like modern people. This archaeological discovery from excavations at Oseberg and Gokstad challenges our assumptions about comfortable sleep positions. The small bed dimensions weren't limitations but deliberate design choices that optimized sleep quality through proper spinal alignment and improved breathing. Longhouse architecture represented the pinnacle of medieval sleep engineering. These structures, sometimes extending over 30 meters in length, housed entire extended families in a carefully planned environment that balanced privacy, warmth, and social connection. Archaeological evidence from sites like Lens aux Meadows reveals sophisticated understanding of airflow temperature control and acoustic design that created ideal sleeping conditions. The central fire pit provided controlled heating that maintained optimal sleeping temperatures throughout the structure. Smoke management systems, including carefully designed roof openings and wall vents, prevented carbon monoxide buildup while maintaining warmth. Modern sleep science identifies bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit as optimal for quality sleep. Viking longhouses, through passive design principles, achieved these temperatures naturally. Raised sleeping platforms built along the longhouse walls provided both insulation from ground cold and acoustic separation from central activities. These benches, lined with straw mattresses and covered with woolen blankets and furs, created individual sleep zones within the communal space. The elevated position improved air circulation around sleeping bodies while maintaining access to radiant heat from the central fire. Ingvar the Wise, a prominent Viking chieftain whose longhouse remains were excavated near Trondheim, demonstrates sophisticated sleep architecture. Archaeological analysis of his dwelling reveals multiple sleeping areas arranged by social hierarchy, with the most favorable positions reserved for family leaders. These prime locations received optimal heat distribution while remaining protected from drafts and disturbances. The communal sleeping arrangement provided psychological benefits that modern research validates. Studies show that people sleeping in groups experience reduced stress hormones and improved sleep continuity compared to isolated sleepers. The presence of trusted family members nearby created feelings of security that promoted deeper sleep stages. Vikings achieved natural social thermoregulation, sharing body heat efficiently while maintaining individual sleeping spaces. Building materials contributed significantly to sleep quality. Timber construction provided excellent insulation while remaining breathable, preventing the humidity buildup that disrupts sleep. Natural materials like wood and wool didn't emit the chemical odors associated with modern synthetic furnishings. Archaeological textile analysis reveals that Viking bedding materials were specifically chosen for temperature regulation and moisture management. Modern architectural design often prioritizes visual appeal over sleep optimization. Bedrooms in contemporary homes frequently suffer from poor ventilation, inappropriate lighting, and acoustical problems that Vikings avoided through practical design principles. Urban housing developments create heat islands that elevate nighttime temperatures above optimal sleeping ranges, while thin walls and poor sound insulation allow noise disruption that Vikings minimized through thick timber construction. The Longhouse model offers valuable lessons for modern sleep architecture. Optimal bedroom design should prioritize temperature control, air circulation, acoustic isolation, and appropriate lighting over aesthetic considerations. Vikings created sleeping environments that supported rather than hindered natural sleep processes, demonstrating that good design serves biological needs first. Vikings practiced segmented sleep cycles, sleeping twice each night, with 1 to 2 hours of waking time between sleep periods for storytelling crafts and social interaction. This pattern proved more optimal than modern 8-hour continuous sleep. Recent archaeological evidence and linguistic analysis of Old Norse terminology reveals that Vikings naturally followed what sleep researchers call biphasic sleep patterns that align with human circadian biology better than industrial sleep schedules. The practice, documented in Icelandic sagas and supported by excavated sleeping arrangements, involved what Vikings called fyrri svefn, or first sleep, followed by a wakeful period, then síðari svefn, or second sleep. This wasn't insomnia or sleep fragmentation, but deliberate sleep architecture that maximized both rest quality and productive waking hours during long northern winters. Thomas Ware's groundbreaking research at the National Institute of Mental Health demonstrates that when modern people are isolated from artificial lighting for several weeks, their sleep naturally segments into 2 distinct periods separated by 1 to 2 hours of quiet wakefulness. Participants in these studies reported feeling more refreshed and alert than with conventional 8-hour sleep blocks, suggesting that segmented sleep represents our natural biological pattern. Consider the winter routine of Eriksson's household, as described in the Vinland sagas. Archaeological evidence from similar sites shows family groups gathering around the central fire during the midnight waking period for activities that strengthened social bonds and productive work. Women spun wool and mended clothing. Men carved tools and weapons. Children learned stories and songs, and everyone shared food and conversation in the peaceful middle night hours. This wakeful period served multiple biological functions that modern research validates. Body temperature naturally drops to its lowest point during the early morning hours, creating optimal conditions for the second sleep period. Growth hormone release, crucial for physical recovery and immune function, peaks during deep sleep phases that occur more readily in the second sleep segment. Vikings unknowingly optimized their hormonal cycles through segmented sleep timing. The practice provided psychological benefits that continuous sleep patterns miss. The midnight waking period offered time for reflection, creativity, and intimate conversation, that the busy daylight hours couldn't accommodate. Many sagas describe important decisions, artistic inspiration, and relationship bonding occurring during these quiet middle night hours. Vikings used this time for activities that modern people struggle to fit into their schedules. Segmented sleep also provided practical advantages for survival in harsh climates. The midnight waking period allowed for fire maintenance, food preparation, and weather monitoring that continuous sleep would have prevented. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings used this time for tasks requiring concentrated attention, taking advantage of the calm focus that characterizes natural midnight wakefulness. The transition to monophasic sleep occurred gradually during the Industrial Revolution, as artificial lighting and factory schedules demanded continuous waking periods, followed by compressed sleep time. Historical documents show references to first and second sleep disappearing from European literature by the early 1800s, coinciding with widespread adoption of gas lighting and industrial work patterns. Modern attempts to return to segmented sleep patterns show promising results for certain populations. People with insomnia often find that accepting natural midnight wakefulness reduces sleep anxiety and improves overall rest quality. Shift workers report better adaptation when their schedules accommodate natural sleep segmentation rather than forcing continuous blocks. The Viking model suggests that fighting our natural biphasic tendencies creates the sleep disorders plaguing industrial societies. Instead of viewing midnight wakefulness as problematic, Vikings embraced it as valuable time for activities that enhanced their quality of life. This ancient wisdom offers a radically different approach to sleep optimization that prioritizes biological alignment over social convention. Vikings consumed 10 times more omega-3 fatty acids than modern people, including fish brains and whale eyes as brain superfoods. Archaeological analysis of Viking dietary remains reveals extraordinary consumption of marine omega-3 sources that modern nutritional science identifies as crucial for sleep quality. Isotope analysis of Viking bones shows marine protein comprising up to 50% of their diet, compared to less than 5% for most contemporary populations. The Viking diet centered around fatty fish species, including salmon, mackerel, herring, and cod, all rich in docosahexaenoic acid, DHA, and eicosapentaenoic acid, EPA. These omega-3 fatty acids serve as building blocks for brain cell membranes and precursors for hormones that regulate sleep cycles. Modern research demonstrates direct correlations between omega-3 intake and improved sleep quality, faster sleep onset, and increased deep sleep duration. Recent studies published in the Journal of Sleep Research show that people consuming high omega-3 diets sleep an average of 1 additional hour per night and experience 30% fewer sleep disruptions compared to those eating standard Western diets. The mechanism involves omega-3 fatty acids' role in producing melatonin, the primary sleep hormone, and reducing inflammation that interferes with normal sleep patterns. Consider the dietary practices of Thorvald the Seafarer, whose preserved food stores were discovered in a remarkably well-preserved ship burial. Archaeological analysis revealed enormous quantities of dried fish oil, and fermented fish products that provided concentrated omega-3 nutrition during long voyages. These foods weren't just sustenance, but sophisticated nutritional technology that maintained cognitive function and sleep quality under extreme conditions. Vikings also consumed parts of fish that modern people discard, but which contain the highest omega-3 concentrations. Fish brains, eyes, and organs were considered delicacies that provided concentrated DHA essential for neural function. Whale hunting provided access to marine mammal blubber, containing unique omega-3 profiles that supported brain health and sleep regulation. The seasonal fishing patterns followed by Vikings ensured year-round access to omega-3 nutrition, Summer fishing provided fresh sources, while sophisticated preservation techniques, including smoking, drying, and fermentation, maintained nutritional value through winter months. Archaeological evidence shows elaborate food storage systems designed to preserve fish oils that would otherwise become rancid. Contrast this with modern dietary patterns, characterized by omega-6 to omega-3 ratios of 15:1 or higher, compared to the optimal 1:1 ratio that Vikings likely achieved. Processed foods, vegetable oils, and grain-fed meat create inflammatory conditions that disrupt sleep quality. Most contemporary people consume less than 200 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA daily, while Vikings probably exceeded 2,000 milligrams regularly. Modern supplementation studies demonstrate dramatic sleep improvements when people increase omega-3 intake to Viking-like levels. A randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that participants taking 600 milligrams of DHA daily for 16 weeks showed significant improvements in sleep efficiency and reduced sleep onset time compared to placebo groups. The Viking advantage extended beyond omega-3 quantities to include vitamin D from marine sources. Fatty fish provides one of the few natural dietary sources of vitamin D, which regulates circadian rhythms and supports melatonin production. Living at northern latitudes with limited sunlight made dietary vitamin D crucial for maintaining sleep-wake cycles that Vikings achieved through their marine-focused diet. Fermented fish products common in Viking cuisine provided additional sleep benefits through probiotic bacteria that support gut health. Modern research reveals strong connections between gut microbiome composition and sleep quality, with certain bacterial strains producing neurotransmitters that promote restful sleep. Vikings unknowingly optimized their gut bacteria through fermented foods that supported both nutrition and sleep. The practical implications for modern sleep optimization are clear. Increasing omega-3 intake through fatty fish consumption quality supplements, or both, can significantly improve sleep quality. The Viking model suggests that treating food as medicine, particularly regarding marine omega-3 sources, provides natural sleep enhancement that surpasses pharmaceutical interventions for many people. Vikings invented the Nordic Cycle, involving 4 alternations between 100°C saunas and ice baths, releasing growth hormone levels 300% above normal. Archaeological evidence from early medieval Scandinavia reveals sophisticated bathing installations that modern research identifies as powerful tools for sleep optimization. These weren't simple hygiene practices, but advanced therapeutic protocols that enhanced recovery and sleep quality through controlled temperature exposure. Viking women gave birth in saunas because they were the cleanest places in the house, and newborns slept better due to early heat exposure. This practice, documented in historical sources and supported by archaeological findings, demonstrates the central role of heat therapy in Viking culture. The tradition reflects deep understanding of how controlled heat exposure benefits human physiology, particularly sleep regulation. The Nordic bathing cycle involved systematic exposure to extreme heat, followed by rapid cooling repeated multiple times in sequence. Archaeological sites across Scandinavia contain remains of early saunas, steam baths, and cold plunge pools arranged to facilitate this therapeutic routine. Stones heated by wood fires created dry heat environments reaching temperatures that would challenge modern sauna users, while nearby cold water sources provided immediate cooling. Egil Skallagrimsson, the famous Viking poet and warrior, describes in his saga the restoration he achieved through regular bathing rituals. Archaeological excavations of his family's compound reveal elaborate bathing facilities that supported therapeutic heat cycles. These installations required significant resources and labor, indicating that Vikings prioritized heat therapy as essential rather than luxury. Modern research validates the Viking approach to heat therapy for sleep enhancement. Studies published in the Journal of Applied Physiology demonstrate that sauna use increases deep sleep duration by up to 70% during the first 2 hours of sleep. The mechanism involves heat-induced vasodilation that promotes rapid cooling after sauna exit, triggering the temperature drop that signals sleep onset to the circadian system. Heat exposure also stimulates release of growth hormone and prolactin, both crucial for sleep quality and recovery. Growth hormone release can increase 200 to 300% during and after sauna sessions, promoting tissue repair and immune function that occur primarily during deep sleep phases. Prolactin levels rise significantly, with heat exposure supporting REM sleep regulation and stress recovery. The cold exposure component of the Nordic Cycle provides additional sleep benefits through activation of the sympathetic nervous system, followed by parasympathetic rebound. This physiological stress response, when controlled and brief, strengthens the body's ability to regulate temperature and stress, both important for maintaining stable sleep patterns. Vikings practiced communal bathing that added social benefits to the physiological advantages of heat therapy. Group sauna sessions strengthened social bonds while providing mutual support for enduring extreme temperatures. Archaeological evidence suggests that Viking communities built bathing facilities large enough to accommodate extended family groups, making heat therapy a shared cultural practice rather than individual treatment. The timing of Viking heat therapy sessions optimized sleep benefits. Archaeological evidence and historical accounts suggest that bathing occurred in late afternoon or early evening, allowing sufficient time for body temperature to normalize before sleep onset. This timing aligns with modern research, showing that sauna used 2 to 3 hours before bedtime provides optimal sleep enhancement without interfering with initial sleep onset. Seasonal adaptation through heat therapy helped Vikings maintain sleep quality during extreme climate variations. Summer heat exposure prepared their thermoregulatory systems for winter cold, while winter sauna use compensated for reduced activity levels and limited sunlight exposure. This year-round practice maintained metabolic flexibility that supported consistent sleep patterns regardless of seasonal challenges. Modern applications of Viking heat therapy principles show remarkable potential for treating sleep disorders. Regular sauna use, particularly when combined with cold exposure, can reset circadian rhythms disrupted by irregular schedules or artificial lighting. The practice offers drug-free intervention for insomnia that addresses root physiological causes rather than merely suppressing symptoms. The Viking model demonstrates that heat therapy requires systematic application rather than occasional use to achieve maximum sleep benefits. Archaeological evidence suggests daily or near-daily bathing practices that created cumulative physiological adaptations. Modern research supports this approach, showing that regular sauna users develop enhanced heat tolerance and improved cardiovascular function that supports better sleep quality over time. Vikings feared uncleanliness more than death. They were extreme germaphobes who bathed and groomed more frequently than European nobility, creating low hygiene-related stress that dramatically improved sleep quality. Archaeological evidence reveals sophisticated personal hygiene tools, grooming implements, and bathing facilities that challenge stereotypes about dirty medieval people. Vikings maintained cleanliness standards that wouldn't be achieved by most Europeans until centuries later. Excavations of Viking sites consistently uncover elaborate collections of combs, tweezers, ear spoons, razors, and soap-making equipment that demonstrate obsessive attention to personal cleanliness. These weren't status symbols, but everyday tools used by all social classes. Chemical analysis of soap residues found at Viking sites reveals they created strongly alkaline cleaning products using ash and animal fats that effectively removed dirt and killed bacteria. The psychological benefits of extreme cleanliness standards directly supported better sleep quality. Modern research demonstrates strong correlations between hygiene anxiety and sleep disruption, with people experiencing contamination fears showing increased cortisol levels that interfere with sleep onset and maintenance. Vikings eliminated this source of stress through cultural practices that prioritized cleanliness as essential for social acceptance and personal well-being. Consider the grooming ritual of Lagertha, the legendary Viking shield maiden, whose burial goods included an extensive collection of personal hygiene tools. Archaeological analysis reveals combs made from antler bronze tweezers for hair removal and specialized tools for cleaning under fingernails. These weren't vanity items, but practical implements for maintaining the cleanliness standards that Viking society demanded. Weekly bathing was standard practice for Vikings, far exceeding the hygiene frequency of other medieval Europeans, who might bathe only a few times per year. Archaeological evidence includes purpose-built bathhouses at major Viking settlements, indicating that regular washing was infrastructure priority rather than individual choice. Hot springs were developed into community bathing facilities that served entire settlements. The stress reduction achieved through superior hygiene practices extended beyond personal comfort to social confidence. Vikings knew they met or exceeded the cleanliness expectations of their communities, eliminating the social anxiety that poor hygiene creates. This confidence supported better sleep through reduced social stress and worry about personal acceptability. Vikings also maintained exceptional dental hygiene, using specialized tools and techniques that prevented the tooth pain and oral infections that disrupted sleep for most medieval people. Archaeological examination of Viking skulls reveals significantly better dental health than contemporary populations, indicating effective oral care practices that prevented the chronic pain conditions that interfere with quality sleep. The cultural emphasis on cleanliness extended to sleeping environments and bedding materials. Vikings regularly cleaned and replaced straw mattresses, washed woolen blankets and furs, and maintained sleeping areas free from vermin and accumulated dirt. Archaeological evidence shows organized waste disposal systems that prevented contamination of living spaces with human and animal waste. Clothing hygiene received similar attention, with Vikings regularly washing garments and changing underclothing made from linen that could be effectively cleaned. Archaeological textile analysis reveals that Vikings used specialized tools for removing lice and other parasites from clothing and hair, preventing the itching and discomfort that disrupts sleep quality. The contrast with other medieval populations is striking. Most Europeans during the Viking Age accepted bodily odors, dental problems, and parasite infestations as normal conditions rather than problems requiring solutions. This acceptance created chronic low-level stress and physical discomfort that negatively impacted sleep quality for entire populations. Modern research validates the Viking approach to hygiene and stress management. Studies show that people with higher cleanliness standards experience lower baseline cortisol levels and report better sleep quality than those with relaxed hygiene practices. The relationship appears bidirectional, with good hygiene supporting better sleep and adequate sleep supporting motivation for self-care. The Viking model suggests that contemporary sleep problems may partly stem from inadequate attention to hygiene and cleanliness as stress reduction strategies. While modern sanitation exceeds Viking capabilities in many ways, the cultural prioritization of personal cleanliness as essential rather than optional could benefit people struggling with sleep anxiety and stress-related insomnia. Implementing Viking-level attention to personal hygiene, sleeping environment, cleanliness, and bedding maintenance provides natural stress reduction that supports better sleep quality without requiring pharmaceutical interventions or complex behavioral modifications. The approach addresses one of the fundamental human needs that modern people often neglect in favor of more complex solutions. Vikings had the perfect natural gym that created ideal physical activity levels for deep sleep and recovery. Their daily lifestyle combined cardiovascular exercise through rowing and walking, strength training through manual labor and weapon practice, and functional movement patterns that modern fitness programs attempt to replicate. Archaeological evidence reveals that Viking skeletons show muscle development and bone density that surpass most contemporary populations, indicating superior physical conditioning achieved through practical activities. The Viking workday integrated physical activity in ways that optimized sleep quality through natural exercise timing and intensity variation. Morning activities included animal care, food preparation, and craft work that provided gentle movement to activate circulation and metabolism. Midday brought more intensive activities like farming building or weapon training that elevated heart rate and challenged muscular strength. Evening activities returned to lighter tasks that allowed gradual recovery before sleep. Ragnar Lodbrok, the legendary Viking king whose exploits are documented across multiple sagas, exemplifies the warrior-farmer lifestyle that created optimal fitness for sleep quality. Archaeological evidence from similar high-status Viking burials reveals skeletal markers, indicating exceptional physical development from combined martial training and agricultural work. These individuals achieved cardiovascular conditioning through sustained activities while building strength through functional movements. Rowing, the primary means of Viking transportation and warfare, provided full-body cardiovascular exercise that modern research identifies as ideal for sleep enhancement. Studies published in the Journal of Sleep Medicine show that people engaging in regular cardiovascular exercise fall asleep 50% faster and spend more time in deep sleep phases compared to sedentary individuals. Viking rowing activities naturally provided this exercise through necessary transportation and military activities. The seasonal variation in Viking physical activities prevented the overtraining and monotony that can disrupt sleep patterns. Summer brought intensive activities, including raiding, trading voyages, and agricultural work, that challenged fitness and built strength. Winter reduced activity levels while maintaining basic conditioning through indoor tasks, weapon maintenance, and shorter outdoor excursions. This periodization aligns with modern sports science principles for optimizing recovery and preventing burnout. Manual labor formed the foundation of Viking physical conditioning, providing functional strength training that supported overall health and sleep quality. Archaeological evidence shows that Vikings engaged in activities requiring lifting, carrying, digging, building, and crafting that developed balanced muscular strength. Modern research demonstrates that functional exercise patterns produce better sleep outcomes than isolated muscle training typical of contemporary fitness programs. Combat training and weapon practice provided high-intensity interval exercise that modern research identifies as particularly beneficial for sleep quality. Archaeological evidence reveals that Vikings practiced with swords, axes, spears, and shields in training routines that combined cardiovascular challenge with skill development. Studies show that short bursts of intense exercise followed by recovery periods enhance deep sleep more effectively than steady-state activities. The timing of Viking physical activities aligned with circadian rhythms to optimize sleep quality. Most intensive activities occurred during daylight hours, when core body temperature and energy levels naturally peak. Evening activities gradually decreased in intensity, allowing body temperature and arousal levels to decline in preparation for sleep. This natural pattern contrasts with modern tendencies to exercise late in the day, which can interfere with sleep onset. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings understood the relationship between physical exhaustion and sleep quality, deliberately engaging in activities that promoted fatigue appropriate for restorative rest. However, They avoided the chronic exhaustion that impairs sleep by balancing work with adequate nutrition and recovery time. Skeletal analysis shows robust health rather than the stress markers associated with overwork. The social aspects of Viking physical activities provided additional benefits for sleep quality through stress reduction and community bonding. Archaeological evidence suggests that many physical tasks were performed in groups, creating social support networks that reduced psychological stress. Modern research demonstrates that people with strong social connections sleep better than isolated individuals, indicating another advantage of Viking community-oriented lifestyle. Gender differences in Viking physical activities created different but equally effective exercise patterns for men and women. Archaeological evidence shows that Viking women engaged in physically demanding activities, including textile production, food processing, and household management, that provided consistent, moderate exercise. Viking men participated in more varied activities, including warfare construction and exploration, that created greater intensity variation. The contrast with modern sedentary lifestyles reveals why contemporary populations struggle with sleep disorders that rarely affected Vikings. Office work, automobile transportation, and automated conveniences eliminate the daily physical activity that humans evolved to require for optimal health. This mismatch between modern lifestyles and biological needs creates the sleep problems that Vikings avoided through necessary daily movement. Implementing Viking-inspired physical activity patterns offers practical solutions for modern sleep optimization. Regular cardiovascular exercise through walking, cycling, or swimming, combined with functional strength training using bodyweight or basic equipment, can recreate the fitness benefits that supported Viking sleep quality. The key lies in consistency, variety, and appropriate timing, rather than extreme intensity or complex equipment. Ocean waves and Nordic forest winds naturally created pink noise, the optimal sound frequency for deep sleep. Vikings lived immersed in acoustic environments that modern research identifies as ideal for sleep quality, while contemporary urban dwellers struggle with noise pollution that fragments sleep and elevates stress hormones. Archaeological evidence reveals that Viking settlements were strategically located to take advantage of natural sound masking from water and wind. Pink noise, characterized by equal energy distribution across octaves, occurs naturally in ocean waves, wind through forests, and flowing water. Modern sleep research demonstrates that pink noise improves deep sleep quality by up to 75% compared to silence or white noise. Vikings unknowingly optimized their acoustic environment by settling near coastlines, rivers, and forested areas that provided consistent natural pink noise throughout the night. The coastal settlements preferred by Vikings offered multiple acoustic advantages for sleep quality. Ocean waves create rhythmic sound patterns that entrain brainwave activity towards sleep-promoting frequencies. Archaeological evidence shows that Viking communities were typically established within hearing distance of surf, providing natural sound masking that blocked potentially disruptive noises while promoting relaxation through consistent, predictable sound patterns. Consider the settlement at Hedeby, one of the most important Viking trading centers, strategically located on a protected inlet that provided both transportation access and optimal acoustic conditions. Archaeological excavations reveal longhouses oriented to maximize the sleep benefits of water sounds, while minimizing exposure to wind noise that could disrupt rest. The settlement layout demonstrates sophisticated understanding of how environmental sounds affect sleep quality. Forest environments surrounding inland Viking settlements provided additional acoustic benefits through wind-generated sounds in tree canopies. These natural wind sounds create frequency patterns that mask disruptive noises while providing pleasant background ambiance that promotes relaxation. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings maintained wooded areas near settlements, partly for acoustic benefits, clearing only necessary space for buildings and fields. The absence of mechanical noise sources in Viking environments eliminated the sleep disruption that plagues modern urban dwellers. Contemporary research shows that traffic noise, aircraft flyovers, industrial sounds, and electronic device alerts fragment sleep architecture and prevent deep sleep phases essential for recovery. Vikings lived in acoustic environments free from these artificial disruptions. Seasonal sound variations in Viking territories provided changing but consistently beneficial acoustic environments throughout the year. Summer brought bird songs, insect activity, and vegetation sounds that create natural white noise beneficial for sleep. Winter reduced these sounds while increasing wind and water noise that provided different but equally effective sleep-promoting acoustics. The Longhouse architecture itself contributed to acoustic optimization through materials and design that managed sound transmission. Thick timber walls provided excellent sound insulation while remaining permeable to beneficial natural sounds. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings understood how building orientation and window placement could control acoustic environments within sleeping areas. Indoor acoustic management in Viking dwellings created additional benefits for sleep quality. Archaeological evidence shows that Vikings used textile hangings, furs, and other soft materials that absorbed harsh sounds while preserving beneficial acoustic qualities. The central fire created subtle crackling sounds that modern research identifies as naturally relaxing, similar to the pink noise produced by natural environments. Social acoustic patterns in Viking communities supported rather than disrupted sleep quality. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings maintained cultural practices that minimized disruptive nighttime activities while preserving beneficial sounds. Evening storytelling music and quiet conversation created pleasant acoustic environments that promoted relaxation and social bonding before sleep. The contrast with modern acoustic environments reveals another factor contributing to contemporary sleep problems. Urban noise pollution, including traffic, construction, aircraft, and electronic devices, creates constant acoustic stress that elevates cortisol levels and fragments sleep architecture. Even suburban environments typically expose sleepers to artificial sounds that disrupt natural sleep processes. Modern research validates the Viking approach to acoustic sleep optimization. Studies show that people sleeping in environments with natural sound masking experience better sleep continuity and report feeling more rested upon waking compared to those sleeping in either silent or artificially noisy environments. Natural sounds appear to provide optimal acoustic conditions for human sleep. Implementing Viking-inspired acoustic optimization offers practical solutions for modern sleep improvement. Sound masking using recordings of ocean waves, forest sounds, or flowing water can recreate beneficial natural acoustics in urban environments. Eliminating electronic devices, improving sound insulation, and creating quieter sleeping environments addresses the acoustic pollution that Vikings naturally avoided. The Viking model demonstrates that optimal sleep requires acoustic environments that support rather than disrupt natural sleep processes. Their settlements and dwellings created sound conditions that enhanced relaxation, masked disruptive noises, and provided the rhythmic natural sounds that entrain brainwave activity towards sleep-promoting patterns. Vikings lived through 2 months of midnight sun and 2 months of polar night, developing light adaptation that modern brains simply cannot handle. Their geographic location created extreme seasonal light variations that would devastate contemporary circadian rhythms, yet archaeological and historical evidence suggests that Vikings not only survived, but thrived under these challenging conditions through sophisticated light management techniques. The midnight sun phenomenon occurs above the Arctic Circle during summer months, when the sun remains visible for 24 hours daily. Modern research shows that this continuous light exposure can disrupt sleep-wake cycles, suppress melatonin production, and create manic episodes in people unaccustomed to extreme photoperiods. Vikings developed cultural and architectural adaptations that mitigated these challenges while taking advantage of extended daylight for productive activities. Archaeological evidence from Viking Age sites reveals strategic architectural features designed to control light exposure within sleeping areas. Window placement, interior partitions, and textile hangings created zones of controllable darkness even during bright summer nights. Vikings understood that maintaining circadian rhythms required periods of darkness despite environmental light availability. Conversely, polar night conditions during winter months created challenges from insufficient light exposure that could trigger seasonal depression and circadian disruption. Modern populations living at high latitudes experience increased rates of mood disorders and sleep problems during winter months. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings developed lighting strategies and activity patterns that maintained circadian stability through dark periods. Consider the adaptation strategies of Thorstein the Red, whose settlement in Iceland required managing extreme seasonal light variations. Archaeological excavations of similar sites reveal interior design elements, including strategically placed oil lamps, reflective surfaces, and window coverings that allowed precise control of artificial lighting during winter months, while blocking excessive natural light during summer. Viking oil lamps crafted from soapstone and burning fish or whale oil provided controllable artificial lighting that could supplement inadequate winter daylight or create intimate lighting for evening activities during bright summer nights. Archaeological analysis reveals that these lamps were designed to produce steady, warm light that didn't interfere with natural melatonin production as harshly as modern artificial lighting. The strategic use of fire for lighting and heating created additional benefits for circadian regulation through the warm, flickering light that modern research shows supports natural melatonin production better than steady artificial lighting. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings carefully managed fire lighting to provide necessary illumination while maintaining light qualities that supported rather than disrupted sleep-wake cycles. Seasonal activity scheduling represented another sophisticated light management strategy that Vikings used to optimize circadian health. Summer's extended daylight supported intensive outdoor activities, including raiding, trading, and agricultural work, that took advantage of available light while creating appropriate fatigue for sleep despite bright conditions. Winter's limited daylight-focused activities around indoor tasks that didn't require extensive light exposure. Vikings also used reflective surfaces, including polished metal and light-colored textiles, to maximize available natural light during dark winter months while creating controllable lighting environments. Archaeological evidence shows strategic placement of reflective materials near windows and light sources to amplify and direct light where needed most. The cultural practices surrounding light exposure reveal sophisticated understanding of circadian biology that modern research validates. Vikings maintained outdoor activities during available daylight hours to maximize natural light exposure, supporting circadian entrainment, even during challenging seasonal conditions. Modern light therapy treatments for seasonal affective disorder essentially recreate the intentional light exposure practices that Vikings developed through necessity. The contrast with modern light management reveals why contemporary populations struggle with circadian disruption despite living in temperate climates with moderate seasonal variation. Artificial lighting, particularly blue-rich LED screens and fluorescent bulbs, extends daylight exposure far beyond natural photoperiods, while providing inappropriate light spectra that suppress melatonin production and delay sleep onset. Modern research confirms that light exposure timing and intensity dramatically affect sleep quality and circadian health. Studies show that people exposed to bright artificial light in evening hours experience delayed sleep onset, reduced deep sleep, and elevated stress hormones compared to those following natural light patterns. Vikings avoided these problems through careful light management that worked with rather than against circadian biology. The Viking approach to extreme photoperiods offers valuable lessons for modern shift workers, travelers, and anyone dealing with circadian disruption. Strategic light exposure during appropriate times combined with darkness periods that support melatonin production can help maintain healthy sleep-wake cycles regardless of environmental lighting conditions. Even the King of France and King of England had to share beds to improve diplomatic relations, proving that communal sleeping was the social norm, not the exception. Strangers at inns regularly shared beds, and private sleeping arrangements were a modern luxury that only emerged after the 18th century. This historical context reveals that Vikings lived within comprehensive social support systems that enhanced sleep quality through community connections and shared resources. Archaeological evidence from Viking settlements demonstrates that communal sleeping arrangements were standard across all social classes. Longhouse excavations reveal sleeping platforms designed to accommodate multiple family members with even wealthy households, maintaining group sleeping areas rather than individual bedrooms. This wasn't due to space limitations, but reflected cultural values that prioritized community bonding and mutual support. The psychological benefits of communal sleeping arrangements directly supported better sleep quality through reduced anxiety and enhanced feelings of security. Modern research demonstrates that people sleeping in proximity to trusted family members or friends experience lower cortisol levels and more stable sleep patterns compared to those sleeping alone. Vikings naturally achieved these benefits through cultural practices that emphasized community over isolation. Consider the household structure of Frida's Eriksdotter, the daughter of Eric the Red, whose settlement in Vinland required managing complex family and crew relationships. Archaeological evidence from similar sites shows sleeping arrangements that accommodated extended families, guests, and workers within shared spaces that promoted social cohesion while maintaining appropriate hierarchy and privacy boundaries. The economic advantages of communal sleeping supported better rest through resource sharing and collaborative security. Archaeological evidence shows that Viking households maintained shared bedding, heating resources, and protective arrangements that reduced individual stress while improving material conditions for everyone. This mutual support system eliminated many sources of worry that could interfere with sleep quality. Social thermoregulation represented a crucial survival advantage that enhanced sleep quality during harsh northern winters. Archaeological evidence suggests that Vikings systematically arranged sleeping positions to maximize shared body heat while maintaining individual comfort. Modern research validates this approach, showing that appropriate social sleeping arrangements can maintain optimal sleeping temperatures more effectively than individual heating methods. The cultural protocols surrounding communal sleeping maintained social harmony while supporting quality rest for all community members. Archaeological evidence and saga references suggest that Vikings developed sophisticated etiquette systems that managed noise movement and personal space within shared sleeping areas. These cultural innovations prevented the conflicts that could arise from intimate proximity while preserving the benefits of community sleeping. Gender-specific sleeping arrangements provided additional social structure that supported appropriate rest for different community members. Archaeological evidence shows that Viking households typically maintained separate sleeping areas for unmarried men and women, while allowing married couples and families to sleep together. These arrangements balanced social propriety with practical considerations for optimal sleep quality. The role of children in Viking sleeping arrangements created intergenerational bonding while teaching appropriate social behaviors from early ages. Archaeological evidence suggests that Viking children typically slept near parents and extended family members, providing security and learning opportunities while maintaining family connections. Modern research shows that children sleeping near family members experience less sleep anxiety and develop more stable circadian rhythms. Social conflict resolution systems within Viking communities prevented the interpersonal stress that can severely disrupt sleep quality. Archaeological evidence and historical sources suggest that Vikings maintained cultural mechanisms for addressing disputes and maintaining harmony within close living communities. These systems prevented the ongoing social tension that would make communal sleeping arrangements untenable. The contrast with modern social isolation reveals another factor contributing to contemporary sleep problems. Many people today sleep alone in separate bedrooms within nuclear family units that lack the extended social support networks that characterized Viking communities. This isolation can increase anxiety, reduce feelings of security, and eliminate the social thermoregulation benefits that Vikings naturally enjoyed. Seasonal variations in Viking social sleeping arrangements accommodated changing environmental conditions while maintaining community benefits. Archaeological evidence suggests that summer sleeping arrangements might include outdoor sleeping areas that took advantage of warmer weather while preserving social connections. Winter arrangements concentrated sleeping areas to maximize shared heating and social interaction during long, dark months. The hierarchical aspects of Viking sleeping arrangements reinforced social order while ensuring that all community members received appropriate rest. Archaeological evidence shows that sleeping position and bedding quality reflected social status, with leaders receiving prime locations and superior materials while maintaining proximity to their households that preserved social connections and security benefits. Modern applications of Viking-inspired social sleeping support offer practical solutions for contemporary sleep problems. Families can benefit from closer sleeping arrangements that provide security and social connection, particularly for children and elderly family members. Community-oriented housing arrangements that balance privacy with social interaction can recreate some benefits of Viking social sleep networks. The Viking model demonstrates that optimal sleep requires social environments that support rather than isolate individual sleepers. Their communities created comprehensive support systems that addressed security, thermoregulation, social bonding, and conflict resolution in ways that enhanced rather than compromised sleep quality for all community members. The revolutionary revelation that modern science confirms Viking sleep patterns were actually optimal for human biology, and we've been sleeping wrong for the past 200 years. This comprehensive analysis reveals that Vikings didn't accidentally sleep well despite harsh conditions, but deliberately created an integrated sleep ecosystem that optimized every factor affecting rest quality. Their approach addressed geographical advantages, architectural design, sleep scheduling, nutrition, temperature, therapy, stress management, physical activity, environmental sounds, light exposure, and social support as interconnected elements of a holistic system. The Viking sleep ecosystem succeeded because it aligned with rather than fought against human circadian biology and evolutionary sleep needs. While modern society has developed impressive technologies for comfort and convenience, we've simultaneously created sleep environments that disrupt the biological processes that Vikings naturally supported. The result is a global sleep crisis, affecting billions of people who have access to comfortable beds, climate control, and medical care that Vikings never possessed. Each component of the Viking sleep system reinforced and amplified the benefits of other components, creating synergistic effects that exceeded the sum of individual interventions. Their geographic location provided natural light cycles that their architecture accommodated through strategic design. Their physical lifestyle created appropriate fatigue that their nutrition supported through omega-3 rich foods. Their social arrangements provided security that their heat therapy enhanced through community bonding. Modern sleep optimization typically focuses on isolated interventions like better mattresses, sleep medications, or behavioral modifications that ignore the comprehensive approach that made Viking sleep successful. Contemporary research increasingly validates the Viking model by demonstrating that sleep quality depends on multiple interconnected factors that require systematic rather than piecemeal solutions. The practical applications of Viking sleep wisdom offer hope for addressing modern sleep problems through evidence-based interventions that work with, rather than against, human biology. These applications don't require returning to medieval living conditions, but instead adapting Viking principles to contemporary circumstances through informed choices about environment, lifestyle, and social arrangements. 7 practical applications for modern sleep optimization. Light management revolution. Implement seasonal light exposure patterns that support rather than disrupt circadian rhythms. This means maximizing natural light exposure during appropriate times while creating darkness periods that support melatonin production. Replace blue-rich artificial lighting with warm, dim lighting during evening hours, and consider blackout curtains or sleep masks to create appropriate darkness for sleep onset. Temperature control mastery. Optimize bedroom temperature through both passive and active methods that recreate the thermal conditions Vikings achieved naturally. Maintain sleeping environments between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit while considering personal thermoregulation through breathable bedding materials and minimal sleepwear. Experiment with heat therapy through saunas, hot baths, or warm showers, followed by gradual cooling to trigger natural sleep onset mechanisms. Nutritional sleep support. Increase omega-3 fatty acid intake through fatty fish consumption quality supplements, or both to achieve Viking-level marine nutrition that supports sleep quality. Reduce omega-6 rich processed foods that create inflammatory conditions interfering with rest. Consider timing nutrition to support, rather than disrupt sleep, avoiding large meals close to bedtime while ensuring adequate nutrition for overnight recovery. Physical activity integration. Develop exercise patterns that mirror Viking activity levels through regular cardiovascular exercise, functional strength training, and consistent daily movement. Time physical activity to support, rather than interfere with sleep, with more intensive exercise during daylight hours and gentler activities in the evening. Prioritize outdoor activities that provide natural light exposure and environmental connection. Stress management. Through community build social support networks that provide the security and connection benefits that Vikings achieved through community living. This might involve closer family sleeping arrangements, community-oriented housing, or social groups that provide mutual support and reduce isolation. Address hygiene and environmental cleanliness as stress reduction strategies rather than mere convenience. Environmental optimization. Create acoustic environments that support sleep through natural sound masking or elimination of disruptive artificial noises. Consider the acoustic properties of sleeping spaces and use materials or sound sources that recreate the beneficial natural soundscapes that Vikings enjoyed. Address air quality, humidity, and other environmental factors that affect sleep comfort. Sleep schedule. Flexibility. Consider segmented sleep patterns that align with natural circadian tendencies rather than forcing continuous 8-hour blocks that may not suit individual biology. This doesn't mean fragmenting sleep randomly, but exploring whether natural midnight wakefulness might be accommodated rather than fought against, particularly during winter months when daylight hours are limited. The future of sleep learning from the past. The Viking model offers a radical alternative to the pharmaceutical and technological approaches that dominate contemporary sleep medicine. Instead of treating sleep problems as medical conditions requiring external interventions, the Viking approach suggests that optimal sleep emerges naturally from lifestyle choices that support biological processes evolved over millions of years. This perspective doesn't dismiss the value of modern sleep research or medical treatments for serious sleep disorders, but it challenges the assumption that technological solutions are necessarily superior to natural approaches that address root causes rather than symptoms. Vikings achieved remarkable sleep quality through comprehensive lifestyle design that modern people can adapt to contemporary circumstances. The growing recognition that sleep quality affects virtually every aspect of human health, from immune function to cognitive performance to emotional stability, makes the Viking model increasingly relevant for addressing not just individual sleep problems, but broader public health challenges. Communities that prioritize sleep-supporting environments and lifestyles could achieve population-wide improvements in health and well-being. Future research opportunities include systematic studies of traditional sleep practices from various cultures, archaeological investigation of ancient sleep environments, and controlled trials testing comprehensive lifestyle interventions based on traditional wisdom, validated by modern science. The Viking model provides a framework for this research, while offering immediate practical applications for anyone seeking better sleep. The ultimate lesson from Viking sleep mastery is that optimal rest requires treating sleep as a fundamental biological need that deserves the same systematic attention that Vikings gave to survival community building and resource management. Their success demonstrates that when humans align their choices with biological reality, rather than fighting against it, remarkable outcomes become not just possible, but inevitable. Modern science proves that Viking sleep patterns were actually optimal for human biology. We've been sleeping wrong for the past 200 years, but we now have both the ancient wisdom and contemporary research needed to reclaim the restorative sleep that Vikings achieved naturally. The question isn't whether we can improve our sleep quality by learning from Vikings, but whether we'll choose to implement the evidence-based solutions that their example provides. The Viking sleep revolution begins with recognizing that true sleep optimization requires comprehensive lifestyle design rather than quick fixes or isolated interventions. Their integrated approach succeeded because it addressed human sleep needs, holistically creating conditions that supported rather than hindered the biological processes that make restorative rest possible. By following their example while adapting their principles to modern circumstances, we can achieve the sleep quality that Vikings enjoyed while building healthier, more sustainable ways of living that benefit individuals, communities, and society as a whole.